everyone, back to another video on my channel. Hope you're doing good, hope you're doing well. As the Africa Cup of Nations is just 7 months around the corner, I feel we need to start looking at this Algerian team, pick the bones of it and work out who should be going, who shouldn't be going. Long way to go. But a little bit of fun today, a little bit of a tier list, looking at the Algerian central midfield area, the centre midfield, and what players I think in that area should be going to start, what players I think should be going to sit on the bench as part of the squad, and what players I think should be staying at home and watching on their televisions. And it might create a little bit of debate, and of course we've got some new midfielders coming in. There's also a long way to go. There's half a season to be played before the AFCON, but there's still some very important games, whether that be the next few weeks, the friendlies of building the team, the debuts of the players to come up, inshallah, and also the 2 World Cup qualifiers that will be taking place in November. So plenty of important football for Jamal Belmadi as far as he's concerned with the Algerian national team. So we're going to play start, bench, drop, and you can let me know in the comments if you agree, or of course if you disagree, because everyone on this channel is entitled to their own opinion unless they're an idiot. So let's start off with a very easy one. Ismail Bennacer. Well, I say easy, we might be having to revisit this situation. Of course Bennacer has to start for Algeria, but of course that serious knee injury that he sustained, it's a big operation. I would be shocked if he's match fit for the first game. When you look back at the last AFCON, Haris Belkebla was starting in midfield on his own. Bennacer wasn't fit for the first couple of games. That was a big part of why Algeria struggled at that tournament. You don't pick up player of the tournament at AFCON 2019 for no reason. You take him out of that Algeria team, half of it collapses. It's like building a house. Without a foundation, you got nothing, mate. So I really hope, inshallah, I reckon he could be out for 6 months, which takes us to December. And that's just rehab, that's just training again, that's just playing again. You know, it's interesting because Morocco, of course, they had Naif Aguerd, the West Ham defender. He was injured and then he went to the World Cup. But of course, he was so important for Morocco's defence. You look at Bennacer, if he's injured going into the AFCON, do you take him? I think he's that good. Even if he misses the first 2 games, you take him. You've got to take Bennacer, but inshallah, it's not a big injury. So Bennacer has to start. Next player, Yacine Adli. I'm excited. Bags of potential. Again, you don't go to AC Milan for no reason. It's just annoying that we didn't really see much game time. And he's probably going to have to go out on loan. It doesn't look like Pioli or whatever it is at Milan is going to start him. He wasn't even in the Champions League squad, which is a shame because he probably would have got a bit of game time considering the injury Bennacer picked up in the first leg of the semi. But I'm excited to see what he does. I think if he's serious, he'll go out on loan. He'll play some football and prove himself. He could come to the Premier League, go back to France, maybe a lower club in Serie A. A lot to offer there. I would like to see him on the plane. It's just whether or not he starts a game is a big story. So Yacine Adli for me on the bench. Next up, Ramiz Zerouki. Now he's been an integral part of the Algerian midfield for the past 2 to 3 years, particularly with the likes of Goudiora and Feghouli dropping out of the side. Zerouki sustained himself a little bit, but ultimately Algeria went out an AFCON group stage and couldn't make it to the World Cup with Zerouki in the middle. And I think despite the fact that he's probably going to Feyenoord, there's going to be better options, I'm afraid, Ramiz. And you going to Feyenoord, yes, he'll be playing in the UEFA Champions League, but there's other players I think that will be playing ahead of you. Having said that, I wouldn't leave Zerouki out on the whole. So I would put Zerouki on the bench. This is going to be a controversial one. Hichem Boudaoui. Now, one of probably Nice's best players this season, but that's probably been the story of Boudaoui, because yes, he's been great at Nice. I've not seen anything to suggest he's good enough to start for Algeria or even be on the bench. Every time he starts, he gets hauled off, or if he's on the bench, he doesn't come on. So the managers don't trust him. Now, for a player to go to AFCON 2019, be a part of the winning squad, we're 4 years on from that, he's not kicked on. For a player that's been a young gun in that squad for a Champions, he's not kicked on to the level. I'm sorry, I just don't get the hype. Not one for me. I would drop Boudaoui. I would not take him to the tournament. That is my honest opinion. Next up, Sofiane Bendubka. Again, the only goal scored at the last AFCON was by Sofiane Bendubka for Algeria, which is remarkable. I think he went to the last AFCON based off of the Arab Cup performance, but no, Not anymore. Even if you're scoring against Ronaldo, it's not the player that's going to bring you the tournament, is it? It's not the player that's going to help you win it. Yeah, I think he's done well to get capped, and I'm proud of him. But I'd have to drop Ben Dubka at this stage. Next up, Hussam Aouar. Looking like he's going to Roma. What a player. Now, yes, he's been injured and I think a lot of issues off the field as well as on the field for him at Lyon. At the end of the day, we know how good Hussam Aouar is. There is no doubting his quality, and on his day, when fit, when starting, one of the best midfielders in Europe. Oh, dropped something. One of the best midfielders in Europe, and he's class. He's fantastic. Start. If fit, start. You've got to start Hussam Aouar. A lethal weapon like that in your locker at a good club, maybe even in the Champions League next season as well. Roma with Mourinho, with Aouar, he's going to learn so much. Working with Mourinho and then Belmadi would be fantastic. Well, will we see his debut, of course, in a few weeks' time as well? So I'd start Hussam Aouar if fit. But again, a bit like Bennacer, the injury concern. But then again, that's why it's good to have quite a few options. Next up, Haris Belkabla. No, he started, of course, against Sierra Leone. We didn't have a midfield, even though he was in it. The AFCON before that, he didn't go to it because he pulled his trousers down. So, no. It's proven that it just doesn't work with him. He's not at the level needed to win a trophy. He was so poor against Sierra Leone in that opening group game of the last AFCON. I don't want to be put through that trauma again. So, Belkabla, he has to be dropped for me. Next up, Nabil Bentaleb. Now, this is an interesting one. I think Bentaleb, as of right now, has been brilliant. He's captained Angers. I know they've been relegated, but it's always been about Bentaleb going back into the fold and proving himself in a top 5 league and probably getting a big move this summer, inshallah. I think Bentaleb has to start. And I think he's going to be the guy that will do the job Guardiola did when we won it. I think he's going to have to sit, dive into tackles, maybe get yellows, maybe even a red one day. Pull people, the dark arts. He will win that ball back. He will fight for it more than Zerouki will. Let Bennacer play a little bit more further forward like he's been doing with AC Milan, 2 goals in 5 before the injury. I love Nabil. And he's only 27, 28. And he played at the Brazil World Cup when he was 19. So it just shows his longevity in the game. So I think Bentaleb will start. I think he has to start. I think him and Bennacer will certainly start as the 2 of the 3. The third, probably Aouar. We'll see if we get another one in there. Next up, I've got Hamed Abdelli. Now, Abdelli has been playing again in a relegation-threatened side in Angers, same club as Nabil Bentaleb. I think Abdelli will be in and around the Algeria squad. He's not made his debut yet. He's not even, been in a squad. But I think a player worthy of a good move, worked his way up in France. And I think Abdelli will have something to prove. And I'd be more than welcome from what I've seen in a poor side to see what he can do in a good side. So I think Abdelli is good enough to go as a bench player. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Abdelli go to the AFCON on the bench. Next up, let's do Adam Zorgan. Another player, I really don't get the hype. I don't want to get too fussed about people playing in the likes of Belgium's leagues to be in Algeria's midfield. Not for me. Again, probably a good player, decent lad, but I've not seen, when he's been called up, what all the fuss is about. It's like, Badawi, I'm not seeing it. I'm just not seeing it. I mean, unless you tell me I'm missing it, I'm not seeing it. And if you're telling me you're going to play Aouar or Zorgan, I'm picking Aouar every single day of the week and bank holidays. Do you know what I mean? I'm not picking like Adam Zorgan. It should be Adam Zorgan, living off the legacy of his dad, of his papa. So, no, I'm dropping Zorgan. I'm not taking him. Which is ironic because the next player, Kadri, I think if there's a space, I'd take him on the bench. I think I only saw him once or twice. Was it maybe Iran? A game like that. I'd have Kadri over Zorgan, and everyone's talking about Zorgan. I'd look at Kadri. I was very impressed. I was like, wow. It's like, this guy should be at least playing in Eredivisie Liga. Kadri's very good. Very underrated, I think. But he doesn't get the headlines. He's not the Stella Zorgan name. I think Kadri on the bench, for me, would be a more than capable option for Algeria. And the last one, Fares Shaibi. Now, from what we've seen, is going to be deployed in the centre. Maybe as an 8, maybe even as a 10. But a part of that midfield 3, maybe what Sofian Feghouli was doing. Loved what I saw. Robbed of 2 goals on his full debut with that shocking ref in Niger away. He's got to be on the plane. It's just about whether he's starting. I think he's in the start category. I think he's that good. He's won the cup with Toulouse. He'll be playing Europa League football next season. And I think it's going to be Bennacer for me, Bentaleb, and either Aouar or Shaibi. One or the other. What a great option to have if one of the other's not playing. What a brilliant bench option. I think Aouar can play in front of Bennacer and Bentaleb. I think Shaibi can play in front of Bennacer and Bentaleb. I think that's solid. You've got one that will win it back, one box to box, and one that will make play happen, advanced playmaker. So I think Shaibi has to start. Anyway, there's 12. I think it's more than enough. You can let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. But yeah, thanks for watching. Subscribe for more. I'll see you next time.